glad that the veiny dick is on your head.
Not literally, figuratively.
First time was rest in peace. Second time was a relic. Third time was ley line. Now I hope it lasts. I can see it in your graveyard. Exile it when you recur. See it in everything you do, even in your hand. You got recursion. Baby, love the way I exile it. You got recursion. Baby, you're the reason I run Bajuka Bug.
I'm actually quite surprised I know this. I'm pretty sure I know it. So this is like the right stuff from New Kids on the Block?
You got to say it the right way. NKOTB. New Kids on the Block, yeah. That's what Cindy... That's
close
Cindy
enough to knob. I don't know. Well, yeah. No, I remember.
That is a song suggestion from number 2. Hey, number 2.
Hey.
Yeah, so I had to get that in there. I was like, that's awesome. I got it. You know, a lot of these songs, well, I got one that's coming in a couple weeks that Mr.
Clearly enjoy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's a very long song, so this one was nice and
like
sweet.
A ballad?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right, welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I am Adam Smith.
And I am Lowery Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
Woo!
Wink.
Yeah,
Winky
you
face.
wink. They can't see the wink.
Yeah, well, I'm practicing for when we start recording ourselves.
Oh, nice. We got to get rid of our hand gestures because we always do that. Oh, now Lowry's jerking off 2 guys at once.
No, it's just one person with 2 dicks.
Lucky. All right, so this is episode 56. We got quite a few things going on today. What are we doing today, actually?
So we're going to go with a new segment. We're going to call it Slaughter on Sight.
Slaughter on Sight. And actually, we're going to stretch this shit out. This is going to be...
We got like at least 3 weeks of this.
At least 3 weeks.
And then we kind of pull off
then you kind of figured out some things where it's like already too late cards and all this stuff. Yeah,
spin-offs that nobody will like. It'll be like Joey after Friends. Like,
yeah, I did watch that show a little bit. Because I was like, I love Joey. And I watched it. I was like, God, they're really trying hard with this. I'll keep... No, this is terrible. I got to stop. So
yeah, that was me at the commercial. So.
And then we get into...
just the tips.
Just the tips. It's gameplay edition. Just the tips.
Just kind of like stuff that we do to make games go faster or smoother, or just so you don't miss triggers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and some other little tips that'll help for newer players too. There's a lot of things like when we're playing with people that have only been playing for... Even if you've been playing for a couple of years, there's things that you miss. And it's like, hey, you should really do this instead when you're playing your turn because it'll actually... benefit you in the long run.
Sure.
So, and then we got Lowery played. If you didn't,
I played a game over Skype, and I kind of like tweeted
Twitter,
a picture out, and I was like, it was a pretty janky setup, but like it was kind of fun. I want to talk about it a little bit.
So we'll get some gameplay from that, and then we have, of course, Smith Specs of the Week. We do want to start off by talking about our Twitter and all that other fun stuff. So, Twitter, as you know, we are a day late, and that's because our wives...
And $1 short. That's a saying.
I know it is.
It's a lame saying, though. Okay,
that's why I did that. I'm not mad, Lowery. I'm just disappointed that you went with that.
I'm sorry. I can't be original all the time.
But yeah, if you followed us on Twitter, we've been getting a lot more people following on Twitter, not only for the stuff we're the proxies of the week, and you're not sharing with Adam, and you're...
And I do
Card Sphere.
The Card Sphere, whatever comes in that week, I'll do it at the end of the week, like Friday, Saturday-ish.
Yeah. But we did put in advance that we weren't going to be putting this episode out because wives had a girls' weekend. Left us with the kids.
That was so great.
So yeah, they didn't get home until late last night, and we were just like, all right, let's just do... We're actually going to be doing 2 episodes.
Tonight, yeah.
You're only going to hear one today, but we'll have anher one
next
week.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can follow us YouTube and all that. Subscribe there. You can find our videos.
We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, so that's the free way. We've said it before, and I know other podcasts say it, but it is the free way to support the show is liking, subscribing is a big thing.
Watch essentially a blank screen.
Well, we got other videos up there.
That's true. Yes, we
But
do have more interesting videos.
Not necessarily you have to watch if you subscribe. The more subscribers we have,
No,
the
I
better.
totally know what you mean. So if we can have everybody listen, just go there, click on it, and you can leave.
Then you can leave and
Go
never
have
go
dinner,
back.
and then you can come
Oh,
back.
you're trying to
and-
get the play count.
Just get the clicks. That's all we want.
I thought you just meant go there, subscribe. Just
You can make
subscribe.
comments
You
too.
don't
And
even
be
have to-
like,
You know what? Here's even
Beluga.
better. Make like 5 or 10 accounts and go and subscribe with all those accounts so we get more
I'm
subscribers
down.
on there.
Yeah, that'd be great. We won't know it. We'll be like, holy crap, we're
shit.
blowing up. Yeah.
It's Jacob B number 3 and Jacob B number 4. Holy crap, that's crazy. We have all these. They're very similar. What are the chances? Stupid. Then you can also email us song suggestions. We've been getting a lot of these songs lately.
Yeah.
I haven't had to write a fucking song, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
this
mean,
is easy now.
Aussie Nate's getting to the point where he's written as many as we have.
Yeah, I have Aussie Nate songs lined up where I'm like, all right, I'll get to this one somewhere down the road. And I was like,
He's prolific.
yeah, it's pretty good.
It's amazing.
And then, like we talked about last week, we did start Patreon.
Yeah, we got 7 people.
Seven people, which we
have
were
been
like,
very kind.
holy shit.
Yeah.
So actually, we do want to thank some people. Why don't you
Okay.
start us off, actually?
So Matt Heinzman has donated.
Tyson Knutson.
Jeremy Pangrel,
Adam Bush. He is from Not So Serious Magic. So, that,
number 2.
yep, number 2. Hey, number 2.
We got Carter Babs.
All right, here we go. Jacob. Shit. Lowery. Bashika.
Yeah.
We went over it before, and I'm like, I'm going to fuck his name up. You should say it. It was like,
That could still be a fuck up.
yeah.
So apologize again because we've. I know you've emailed us and stuff.
Yeah. I'm
contacted
just terrible.
us in the
You know
future
me with
or
reading.
past.
It's awesome.
in
And
time.
I was like, would it be funny if I just tried to read it? I'm glad that you jumped in.
And then Tom Springsteen.
yeah, I was like, can we switch? I want to do the Springsteen.
You wrote the order.
Yeah, I know. I just wrote down how we had it all lined up.
So, a couple of those are
You recognize
some
some of
friends
the
of ours
names.
as well.
Yeah.
We've talked about them. We appreciate it super much from everybody there.
We appreciate it super much.
I'm good with my adjectives and
It's like my wife when she used to do the
All
all entirely, and I'm like, wait,
no, she said all entire day.
yeah, all entire, but
all
everything was
entirely?
all entire.
What?
And I'm like, wait. So you're taking everything, and then you're taking everything again. She's like, yeah. So I'm really getting everything. I was like, okay, just making sure all entire
Just
day.
in case something falls out of your hands,
Yeah.
you got to pick that
Got
up.
everything.
Yeah,
so.
makes sense to me.
But yeah, thank you guys so much because we didn't know what to expect.
No idea. This is
just like,
I
holy
was
shit.
expecting like my mother to donate, and that's about it.
Yeah, Mom, can you?
Can you please give me $1?
Why is
No.
your only patron a Smith name?
Remember
All
that-
ours are Smiths.
Remember that time when I wanted money to go rent a movie and you denied me 20 times in a row? I want that now.
That's
Up
because it was
front.
a porn.
No,
You don't rent
I
that.
didn't. Yeah, that's
You
weird.
just download it on the internet.
No, we don't have internet either.
All
I'm
right.
just saying that we were poor. Leave me
So
alone.
thank you very much. All those people actually are getting. If you go on there,
Some proxies.
Proxies at the end of the month, we will be sending out proxies. They're actually all of them are getting at least 2. Jeremy's getting a couple more because he had a nice donation there. But so you get a choice of the proxies. So if you donate anything above $5 and up, you get a choice of that. If you're the $1 tier, you'll get one after 6 months of donating. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if we're giving a proxy, we kind of figured out we're actually gonna if somebody
gonna
donates
lose money.
$1 and we're giving them a proxy right off the bat, it's like we have to pay for making it and then sending it.
And this will probably change too as we're
yeah,
going to
for
try
sure.
and come up with like other stuff.
Well, yeah, we've
So,
talked about
things will change.
the token stuff. I have an appointment with my tattoo guy next week.
Well,
and-
we're gonna do like the veiny dick sleeve from right. We're gonna figure that out.
I forgot to. I'm
We
going to
could do
talk
that.
to him about that. I was like, hey, can you design a
Can
veiny
you
dick?
design T-shirts of "I'm with cousin"? Come on,
With
we're
the
gonna have a
veiny
whole
dick.
line of.
Oh man,
We got ideas here.
Yeah, I got to remember to write that one down. I'm glad that the veiny dick is on your head.
Not literally, figuratively.
I think we should move on to our episode here. So, anyways, you
All right,
guys
so we're like, all right. 5 minutes into the episode, and we're already...
Shit, okay.
All right, beer of the episode.
Oh, yeah, let's
start
drinking that.
Pompeii. This is an Indian Pale Ale from Toppling Goliath. This is a company that kind of specializes in IPAs, and they have a bunch of different ones. They're very crisp, very, very tasty.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
God damn it.
What happened to my request for the sour? I wanted sour.
I can't find any.
I craved it so much.
I don't really want them right now.
I craved it so much that I picked up the only sour that was at the Target liquor store that I was.
That sounds desperate.
Well, I had the boys with me this weekend, and I was like, I don't want to get in the car, go to the liquor store, take them out, and get it. I was like, okay, going to the Target liquor store. That was the only sour they had. It was all right, but that was my fix because I was wanting sour beers. But yeah, this is actually pretty decent. Take another sip. Yeah.
It's all right. All right, moving on. Slaughter on sight.
Mary and I went skiing. We made a snowman. She touched my leg.
Okay, kill him.
So the point of this segment is the cards that come into play. These are the cards that, as soon as they're in play, 99% of the time, you need to kill these as soon as possible. If you let it get around to the other person's turn and they untap, or it now gets haste, or not haste, it's able to actually do its ability, you're fucked, is basically what the deal is here.
Yeah, the game is essentially ending.
So anytime that you see these cards come into play, kill them as soon as possible.
In our opinion, top 15.
Yeah.
We got a list.
Yeah. We've got a number. That's what our goal is. And it has to be a round number. We had 16, and we're like, no, we got to get to 15.
Which one sounds weak?
Yeah. So if you want to know, we cut Elvish Piper. It used to be, I feel like it's a good card, but it's very situational with...
So, yeah, I've seen it just as many times do awesome stuff as in, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Where, like, it comes around, nobody kills it, and they do nothing with it.
Yeah. So that's the cut. If that could be our 16 if you want it. But here's the number, the 15 that we like the best.
We literally did not put this in an order.
No, we didn't.
But it's top 15 in whatever order you feel is
maybe give us the list of how you guys would arrange this order. No, I'm just kidding. Or you can give us other ones. That's the other thing is these are creatures, not legendary.
I would also say not about to combo. Because I think there's plenty of cards out there that like combo with each other.
Never mind.
What?
You started with that C word, and it sounded like you were going to say something else.
Counterspell?
No.
Was it scary?
Close to it. I thought you were going to say something else. I'm going to probably cut this whole part out because I was like, what is he talking about? Come.
Wow, did I say combo? No.
But yeah, say what you said again, that these are...
and these are also individually good, not comboing with anything.
Correct.
Just to go off.
So, why don't you start us off with the first one, not necessarily
First one we're
one.
talking about would be Sire of Insanity. There's a demon, and at the end of each player's turn, everybody at the game discards their hand.
So, this card almost can be almost too late, but there is a small window if you have an instant to be able to kill it before the end of their turn, because as soon as they are getting to the end of their turn, everybody's discarding. So
then you're just running out of options. Like it's a rough card. It super slows down the game
a lot.
I have it in my Xantra deck. It's perfect in there, and you want this just like if you're playing any type of recursion, you're already getting the advantage on that degree. Or if you have like, Geth's Grimoire that allows you to draw more cards off of that, and then you can maybe play at instant speed. I don't know what you're doing. I don't build your decks unless you copy my decks, but that's so it's a crazy powerful card that just like really slows down the game, and you're trying to get some type of advantage off of it.
The next one on the list is Nova Blast Worm, and that is it's white and green.
It's a white-green card, yeah.
And then when it attacks, destroy all creatures.
Other creatures.
So it stays alive, so you actually can keep destroying the board, destroying the board,
and
destroying the board.
And so essentially, if they're able to rat the board, and they can hit anybody with that 7/7, because all the creatures are pretty much dead, and repeated rats are super powerful.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely kill that on sight. The next
Slaughter
one.
on site.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
terrible. What's
Dang
the
it.
deal? We just came up with this like 2 days ago.
we were like, what do we call this?
It took us like a week to figure out the name. And then we went with alliteration. I mean, why did we try harder?
What did we do? We tried
Avada Kedavra.
Yeah, Avada Kedavra. Then I was like, let's do something like Game
Super
of Thrones,
awkward.
because Game of Thrones is about the final season's about to start. What are some quotes? And then you really researched it. You were like going through all these like
Nothing.
quotes.
I went through like 200 quotes, and I was like, none of these work. None of these work.
You put a lot of work in.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Thank you for recognizing me finally.
Good job, Lowery. I appreciate what you do. All right, the next one I use quite a bit, so why don't you go ahead and read that?
Tidespell Tyrant, which is a blue card creature, obviously because it's a creature list. Duh, Lowry. So
blue
whenever the controller casts a spell, they get to bounce any permanent in play. Generally, they're going to be able to play this
And then
another
boom,
spell
boom,
and
boom,
start
boom.
trying to get rid of other cards. This can hit land.
Anything that's in play.
Yeah, so this card can get really scary if they're being able to play a bunch of spells. Like this could go really well in like a Niv Mizzet deck where you're trying to play a bunch of spells, draw a bunch of cards, and you're pinging, bouncing stuff. Like it can get just been brutal.
I used it in my Animar deck, so he would come out super cheap. Because if you know Animar, it costs less for each creature you cast, how many counters he has on him. So then I was able to play him, and then my other creature, and another creature, and another creature, and just like bounce. Get
Just
everybody.
pretty much, yeah.
That was kind of a lot of times my game winner was Tidespout. That's actually what I would go search for to clear the board. Then the next one, Lowery likes to use this one. I've seen you use this the most. Hermit Druid. And what is his ability? Is it a tap ability? And you
a green tap, and then you reveal cards until you get a basic land, and all those other cards go into the graveyard.
Yeah, so you could be playing a recursion deck. Hence that song that Adam number 2 made there about recursion.
Cute.
Yeah. So not only that, you're getting a land that helps, but a lot of times you're using this in a deck that's going to combo with using your graveyard and everything.
It works with like Sidisi Brood Tyrant. There are a lot of combos that, Lab Maniac works perfect with this as a combo, but that's not why it's here. It's just a really efficient graveyard filler, and that's can be very, very scary.
And then next on the list,
Vigor. So Vigor is... it's a 6/6, and it prevents all damage to all of your other creatures, and then they get +1/+1 counters for as much damage that was
they
prevented. So
prevent. Yeah, that's right.
The card is crazy, and when it dies, it doesn't go into the graveyard; it gets shuffled back into your library. So, but it does not prevent it to itself.
So clone that bitch.
Yeah, clone it and then kill it. So, but it.
Just get that out and then you clone your own Vigor.
I've had this card just do some funky stuff with like, what was it? One time I was playing a Rafika the Many deck, and I attacked with one creature, so it gave it +1/+1 double strike, and then they blocked with a card with Vigor in play. And I was like, my creature's gonna live. I just wanted the attack trigger, and it dealt first strike damage to that creature, pumped it up before normal combat, and then killed my guy. I was like, oh, shit. God dang it. And then I just made theirs like a 16/16. I was like, this is stupid. So be careful about Vigor. But yeah, kill it because you can, like, if you're like, I can block everything that you got, and I can, you just like, I'm going to toss all these guys at you. And if you block everything, they just get huge for the next turn. So you almost got to like take it, and if they leave little like dinky 1/1s behind, they can just block all day and just get huge later on. The card is just crazy.
You got to kill it as soon as.
Yeah.
The reason it normally when Vigor is in the deck, it's working with some kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, just think playing Vigor and then that turn play Blasphemous Act, give all of your other creatures +13/+13,
and then
everybody else is probably dead, and then you just win the game.
Yeah. And if they block, it's fucking crazy. All right.
Slaughter.
Slaughter on sight. Stonehewer Giant is the next slaughter card. This one is the white giant that when he has vigilance. When he's in play, you can tap. What is it? Just tap?
White and a colorless, tap it.
Tap him. So you have to wait a turn. But you get to go search for any equipment and put it
into play, equipped
attached to
any
him.
creature.
Or is it to him?
Any creature.
Oh, that's right. Okay. We're going off of memory on this. We're trying. This is
So-
all testing us at the same time.
So
yeah,
you
go
can
get
attack with your team, and then whoever's getting through, like, just go and search for. I mean, I think it's like World Slayer, which just destroys all
all,
other permanent. But
yep.
if you have like a indestructible deck, like you just win the game right off there, or any type of sword of X and Y, like Feast and Famine, which we might talk about.
What? Foreshadowing.
But like it just, it can do some really crazy tricks, and you just don't know what's going on. It's putting directly into play.
Well, there's a lot of crazy equipment that you can get that could
like
potentially.
is it Elbrus the binding blade that like gives a creature +1/+0, but
And
if
then
it
when
hits,
it
flips over
flip it
into like
over.
9/13 and whatnot.
Yep.
Maybe 7/7. I don't know. It's crazy.
No, the 9/7 is Westvale
I think
Abbey.
Westvale Abbey.
So, what was the name of that one again? I just want to look at it.
Elbrus the binding blade, I believe it is.
Let's check it out. 13.
13.
Flying, indestructible, trample. Whenever a player dies or loses the game, it gets 13 1/1 counters.
Yeah, so you just go and cheat and get that into play. Just deal 1 extra damage, and then.
The one thing you have to look out for, which I've done with this, is make sure you're playing a black deck.
That has to be in the black deck, yes.
Because even though the equipment is an artifact, when it flips over, it turns to a black creature.
So the color identity is black.
Yep. So, all right, next one.
Is going to be Sadistic Hypnotist.
I'd use this in my recent Tesa deck.
Yeah, so you want to slaughter this thing right away, because all they have to do is sacrifice a creature. Now, it's sorcery speed.
Yeah.
And then they target a player, and they got to discard 2 cards. And again, just very similar to Sire of Insanity, like, if you have, like, Nath of the Guiltleaf deck, you just wreck everybody's hand, and then you still have it. But it's still good in a token deck, because you end up being the only person with a hand.
And you just wiped everybody else's cards, and they're top decking everything to try to
and
get back in the game.
That puts the game so much in the Sadistic Hypnotist, like, owner's favor.
So this could be the almost too late, but like you said, it's at sorcery speed. So it hits the battlefield. You can deal with it at that point if you have something to kill.
And so
it right away.
if they're starting to like machine gun off, you interrupt in the middle. They can't add another one onto the stack because it's sorcery speed. So, but if nobody has anything to do with it, it's pretty much game over because they're just at such an advantage at that point.
Another one, we've talked about this one over the last couple weeks and everything. It's one of Lowery's favorite. It is Mother of Ruins, and you all know what that does. It's the 1 white. It can tap to give protection
Of any color to any creature that you control.
Yeah. So you can protect creatures, or you can make it so they're unblockable by if they're
Getting
playing
through,
monocolor, whatever. So it
Protects it
just
from spot removal.
it's just annoying as fuck that you want to kill it, is what it is.
But also it just gets your big badass creatures through. And so if somebody's like, I wish that
Blightsteel
creature had...
Colossus. Okay.
Yeah, well,
now-
that is trample. But yeah, you could just get
make
through
it
the team.
make him indestructible. Blightsteel. You know
That would be ideal, I think.
Hence his name, the Blightsteel. But yeah, it can cause some major problems when it's in play because it's fucking tricky.
Yeah, tricky shit. All right, next one that we're going to talk about is Utvara Hellkite.
Utvara.
That was a good one. So this one, when it's in play, whenever you have a dragon attack, you get to put a 6/6 dragon token into play.
So it's not just for, a lot of those cards where it's like, whenever dragons attack, put a 6/6 in play. It's whenever any of your dragons. So if you have 4 dragons attacking, 6/6, 6/6, 6/6,
you get 4
of them.
6/6s. And that happens when it's in play. So you don't even have to attack with it. It's just put it into play, attack with X amount of dragons.
So
get
it's
that
a
many.
borderline almost too late, but
Yeah, you have to react before their attack step, or else it just gets hard.
We played a game in the last couple months when this got out, and it just got kind of ugly. We
it
could
just
not
ends
deal
the
with
game.
it.
Yeah, because like the crackback can't happen. And the 6/6s are real. That's real, man.
It's real life.
That's real life.
Is this real life?
Yeah. If you don't have an echoing truth, you're in trouble.
All right. Next one is Archangel of Thune, and that is the angel that is it. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on everything. Yep. Okay, yeah, and it has flying, lifelink,
It's like a 3/5.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah,
but you're in a life gain deck most likely when you're playing with this card, so you just play it,
attack with life linkers, and
Or-
gain just to get huge.
and then
Or if
kill.
you have like
any spells that gain you life, anything like that.
yeah, and it's an incremental thing. So if you have like the Spell Sisters type modern deck where whenever a creature comes into play, gain 1 life, but you have multiple of those out,
it's for each one of those.
it'd come into play, and then it'd be like, well, we got 2 of those, and each one of them gets +2/+2 for each creature. The card just gets crazy, and it also does combo with I want to say it's Spike Feeder.
The green.
Yeah, it's a green spike that you remove a 1/1 counter from it, gain 2 life.
Yep.
And then you just put a 1/1
continuously
counter back on it
gain
and do
life.
it. So again, not the purpose. Like this card is just really powerful on it. Like even on its own.
Yeah.
Just a 3/5 life.
If it's by itself
that
and
pumps
you
your
attack,
team.
and if it's the only one, it's getting bigger each time,
Yeah.
and you're gaining life. Like it's pretty ridiculous. Next one, Oracle. That's
I
you.
guess that is my turn. All right. Oracle of Moldiah. This card is just crazy. So what it does is it reveals a top card. If it's a land, you can play it, and you can play an extra land each turn. This card just wins me games. Now this one is probably more incremental than like over the long haul of a game, but if you let this go, like if they're getting like 3 lands extra off of you, like you're pretty much already done because it allows them to get to their gas quicker.
Yeah.
Like beyond the lands.
Oh, speaking of gas, Lowery.
I did have a pretty bad one. I'll admit that.
It was awful. But when we were getting
I've
prepped
had
in
worse.
here, and this
I've had
room is
worse.
not that big. Like it was so bad that you were gagging going to your, not gagging, but you
was
were like
gagging.
going to talk to your
I've
mic
never
and you're
gagged
like,
in my
oh.
life.
And I was like, oh, I don't. And then I could taste it. Like it made my beer
He's
taste
overreacting.
skunky. No, it was awful. And you're
I
like,
think you just were drinking a skunky beer.
I gotta go poop.
I did. Yeah. That was great.
Anyways, Oracle Moldiah, you need to kill as soon as possible because they're getting such an advantage with looking at the top, filtering out not only if there's a land there, they're playing that land, and they get to play an additional land, but then they're also going through their deck, filtering through it.
So much quicker.
There's just so much stuff that happens with
and the
Oracle.
other thing is like if you're playing it with cards that you would usually play in a grain deck like Sylvan Library or Mirri's Guile or Sensei's Divining Top,
You set
you
that-
can make sure that you're not drawing the land so that it's on top,
and then
you're
play
playing
that,
the land
and go
off
to the
the
next
top.
one. There's a lot of things you
the
do.
manipulation. This card can be just gets you so far ahead fast.
Yeah. It's a very good card. Every time it's out, it needs to die as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Another one that needs to die as soon as possible or slaughter on sight is Avenger of Zendikar. Now, when it comes in, kind of too late for the O1s, but the thing
The O1s are just going to block, and it's not
not
worrisome.
dangerous yet. It's once they play their land, which most likely the way you play this is you play the Avenger of Zendikar. You haven't played your land yet for that turn.
Play your land.
Now they're 1/2s. You don't want those to turn into 3/4s.
If they play
four
a fetch,
5s.
there's pretty much no like that's all happening super quick. And I'm pretty sure like if it's your main phase, like obviously with Avenger of Zendikar, like playing lands doesn't enter the stack. You just are able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have to have priority, but you can hold priority after playing a creature.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just play Avenger, play your land before anybody even is able to kill it. And so you might be scaring down a 1/2 army.
But it's better than staring down a 5/6 army.
Or like ones that like fetch and Oracle Moldiah and like
very quick
that
can
stuff
turn
can
into
get
a
disgusting. So you have to kill that 5/5.
And I mean, you're
possible.
looking at most likely Avenger of Zendikar. If you're not tapping mono rocks, you're looking at a turn 7 kind of type thing. It's 2.
If you don't have some type of ramp. But you also want to at least try and have some type of land in your hand. If not, I mean, just a bunch of O1s is not bad.
That's what I was getting at. Is you have 7 O1s kind of most likely at least, unless you have mono rocks, but. How you play Avenger Zendikar is you want to have a lot of lands out. This is a very good card in late game.
Yeah, it's such a good card.
Because then a lot of times when you're playing Avenger Zendikar, you're playing a deck that is utilizing the tokens of being able to sacrifice them or make them big.
There are so many ways to make it good.
Yeah.
And not only having the land, like Parallel Lives, Doubling Season, Divine Visitation, Anointed Procession, and it like doubles, changes them. You can find stuff that, overrun or like makes Crater Hoof Behemoth absolutely deadly. Like, it just does so much.
Oh, Crater
You just
Hoof.
got to get rid of it. Or like stifle the effect, which probably you don't really play, but you got to get rid of it. Got to slaughter it.
All right. Our next one is an awesome card. I love this card so much.
It is a good one. Consecrated Sphinx. This card will just bury you if you don't slaughter it quick enough.
Especially in a 4-player game, if all 4 players are in play.
Yeah. Whenever an opponent draws a card, the owner draws 2 cards.
It's so stupid. But it's awesome.
Stupid. Just, you got to slaughter that thing. Like, it's... I mean, like, I don't even know if you got to, like... If somebody's drawing more cards than one, like... What if somebody has a Ristic Study? You're like, I'm not paying the 1. Sure, I'll draw 2. Well, that's a cast trigger. But, like, Howling Mine effects, like, this stuff is just bonkers stupid.
Well, and the thing is like, even if you if you don't kill it that turn it comes out, them getting something out and letting it go 1 turn is already a huge benefit. They're getting cards. 2 cards right there. And most likely... it's going to take a little bit to kill that off. Normally people don't have something ready, but you got to kill it as soon as possible. Because I do tricks, like, I think this is in my Necrosar deck where it's, all right, everybody draw, or Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
You draw freaking...
As many as you want, because it is a May trigger.
Yes.
You don't have to do it.
So you don't have to deck yourself. But... But there's a lot of tricky things that happen. But even if there isn't tricky things happening, that person is getting a huge advantage. By the time it's their turn, 2, 4, 6 cards already being drawn.
I don't know if you remember this one, but this is back when our cousin Jake was playing. And you cast Trade Secrets. I believe before it was banned, it was like in the Commander set. Mm-hmm. Because it was in the first Commander sets that came out, so that's where you had gotten it. And you had Consecrated Sphinx.
Oh, we went back and forth.
And I had that's why it got banned. But I also had like Zombie Infestation, so I was like, I'll draw 2. You want to draw 4? Mm-hmm. Go, or like it just got ridiculous. And Jake was not happy. And then like.
I don't remember how that game ended then. Did you win with the zombies? Yeah, I think that's
so
what
like
happened.
Basically you're like, oh, I'm going to draw everything. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep drawing too because it was your turn. Mm-hmm. And by the end of your turn, I discarded like 50 cards, got 25 zombies, and then just killed everybody.
I was trying to... I think
that was a good game.
Yeah, because you won. Of course you remember that.
Yeah, all the other ones...
you just blank the other ones from your memory when you lose.
Blank.
All right. The next one is Blightsteel Colossus. We kind of mentioned that one earlier.
Yeah,
Indestructible, Infect, Trample. It's just pretty damn brutal. So
it's honestly, it's not that good.
Larry loves getting killed.
Nobody
by
likes Infect. Infect doesn't kill anybody ever.
Never. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it this year.
Card is dumb. It's basically like a one-sided wrath because the person's like, okay, you know what? I'll just block and go to like 9 poison. And then the next turn you're like, well, I'm going to swing everything. Shit. Okay, I'm going to lose my team. And I'm just going to lose either way. Like,
but that's only picking one person out. But
it's
still,
so hard to
you have to
remove,
exile to get rid of that thing. Or -1/-1 counters, which is another.
Yeah. What is it?
Or
11? You need 11 -1/-1 counters.
It's doable. The -X Toxic Deluge.
Yeah, when you become French.
CC.
Did you just watch Super Troopers 2 or something? That's an awful accent. Sorry.
No, Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, okay.
That rapist.
Jesus.
He is. Have you watched that cartoon? Remember that cartoon?
It was always
And you know
awkward
what
for
he's
me.
chasing, right? It's a cat, which is also the P word.
Talk about this. I get it. All
yeah,
right.
you see?
Jesus.
Yeah. So Pepe Le Pew is chasing the P word. Anyways, I should have bleeped that out so it made it sound like I was being
You
really
can still
dirty.
do it. You can still do it. You have the technology.
Yeah, Blightsteel is just pretty ridiculous. It's an awesome card. I play it less and less. I don't even think it's in a single deck that I have anymore.
Yeah, I don't have it in any of my decks.
It
but
was an Animar because it
play
could
for
go
free.
for,
Yeah, all right.
for free. So
why not?
So it'll fit in theme now when I play it, but it could definitely go in any deck if you wanted to have it. I mean, that's a late game potential. Kill one person, kill the next person.
It'll just start ending the game.
Yeah. If you need that. Well, I don't need to give tips on getting cards in there, but I was gonna say if you need when I build a deck, I always try to have answers for everything. So I'm like, okay, if somebody has infinite life, how do we get rid of an infinite life? So that's why Infect kind of makes its way into a lot of my decks because I'm like, that's my only way unless I do commander damage. That's the other way. So if my commander can do it, then I can do it that way. Don't give me those eyes. You go to the next card.
Rolling them.
All right, go to our last card, number 15.
Number 15, Seedborn Muse. This card is generally just going to get that person so much advantage that, I like putting this card in like a control deck. Like if you're able to have answers or counter spells, because it just opens your mana up. You could put it in like, I have it in my Cumena deck. That's my Merfolk deck that taps a bunch of stuff. It just gives me so much advantage there. Gives you pseudo vigilance. It just really puts that player so far ahead that you just kind of got to get rid of it.
I like to put it in my decks that I can only play sorceries and creatures that don't have abilities.
That's like a terrible way to do it.
Just
Terrible.
only on my turn. I just like to have Seedborn Muse in there.
Might as well.
Although your creatures are untapped, which that helps.
That is nice.
Yeah. So those decks are good.
You can block all day. It's
an amazing card.
And there's a reason why Prophet of Krufix was banned. This is half that card.
Yeah, it's half, and it's still amazing, and it's still a fucking $25 card at least.
Sure, yeah, because it was replacing Prophet of Krufix. No, it's dropped. They did the reprint in Battle Bond.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like 10-ish,
is it
8-ish?
Now I want to check because I thought it was creeping up.
I think the foils are around 20 at this point.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. So let's pick up Battle Bond. Yeah, you're right. Oh, it did have a little spike, but yeah, it was the foils.
I'm never wrong.
Oh. Yeah, $20.
Boom, nailed it both times.
That's what she said.
Weird.
All right, so I think that's the end. That's our top 15. We have a list of.
We'll go through non-creatures.
Well, we're going to go through a lot of these, but eventually we're going to get to creatures that are.
You're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Slaughter on
just
sight
too late.
is already passed. You should have killed it. You should have countered it.
That's like the only way to do it, or like
counters.
discard it or something. Like that's going to be the tough part. Is saying that already too late. Basically, you should have counterspelled
it, which we don't play with counterspells, so it's already too late. Yeah.
And we're not calling it like must counter because Adam will just get twitchy over here, and I'll just be like, okay.
Because wasn't that one of the ideas? And I was just like, well, that kind of goes against everything that we talk about with the counterspell stuff. So
it is not what I believe in.
Yeah. All right, so
you just got to repackage it.
We moving into the next segment. I'm losing our segment spot. Is it you talking about the?
Oh, it doesn't matter. You want me to talk about?
Is that our next one?
Skyping? We're gonna do that after. We can talk about Skype. So this last weekend.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you do that? Go ahead.
Had a buddy that moved, like roommate from college. Matt Heinzman.
Yeah,
you heard
one of our donations.
Yeah, really appreciated. And it's probably the best way
Matt.
for him to
miss you, buddy.
He gets to see me weekly at this point, and I don't get to see him nearly as much.
How does he see you?
Well, I mean, visually, he gets to listen to me.
He listens to the podcast with your picture right next to it.
Just going through my Facebook feed.
Yeah. Oh, Lowery.
Which doesn't do anything. So
I don't know. It does something to me. Don't worry, we're cousins.
Oh, that's gross. But what we ended up doing was playing a game. It was me, him, and his wife, and we played through Skype, which was really cool. And I don't know if people have better setups. He had a pretty cool one where it was like he had an old tripod, and then you can buy like a micro or the camera for like I think I got it for under $25. And then my janky setup was like I set a shoebox like and wedged it in between the top of my laptop and the wall, and then I put another supportive box underneath, and then I clipped my camera like in between the box and the top. And then just like had to angle it properly down to the game state.
Nice.
On my side.
Because you weren't using, like, because my laptop has the camera there. That's what I was trying to figure.
No, you can't even do that because if you angle it to see it, you can't see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you need a separate camera to be able to like angle it differently. But yeah, and so I was just like, oh man, can't you just like tell me and I'll remember because I'm autistic in some way.
Yeah, it's because you're Rain Man. Rain Man with magic.
Just a very slight.
You know what? Don't tell me
slight.
what the card is. Just read its flavor text, and I know exactly what it is. Then I can.
I'm not that good anymore. Not that good anymore.
So how did it go? Like how did it all
really
work?
well, I think.
Like you could see both their boards, like everybody, like visually,
so
audio,
you're
everything
gonna end
like
up
that.
having a little bit of glare, just because.
Yeah.
Of lights. That's how that works. And
what?
yeah, that's something that we're working on when we're recording our stuff too. But and so yeah, you got a little bit of glare, and it's just like it actually really helps you break stuff down because you're like, what did you have again? Like you're more vocal. You're actually talking with them more. It's not all in your head. It's like, because I can't even thumb through their graveyard or like how many cards do you have in your hand because most of that's off. It's like, it'd be like, okay, what can you do here? And so you're actually more vocal and you're able to talk about it a bit.
So it
more.
actually was good practice for doing our deck battle stuff that we're gonna do.
That we have no name for.
Yeah. Oh no,
recording games.
Aussie Nate had some good ones, actually. I have a couple of them lined up from him, actually. I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah. He gave like freaking 10 of them. I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, so it was good practice that way because you're, like you said, you're more vocal about it. And that's kind of what we were talking about with our videos.
Yeah, we're trying to
kind of the behind the scenes thing is
it.
That's what we want to do is announce things when we're playing stuff to be able to watch the video better and understand what cards there are. So
not as much dead noise, but this makes it so like it's a little bit, it's tougher to see, tougher to know, and you're still wanting to BS with your buddy, and so like you're gonna miss stuff, and you can't just like it's not perfect.
So was there any politics going on where they like whispering and you're like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? hey, why all of a sudden are you both just killing my shit?
They couldn't stop me.
Oh
no, that's not true. I won 2, lost 2. We got 4 games in. It was a lot of fun though, and it was good to catch up with people. So I don't know if other people out there have like a better setup because I probably wouldn't even known about playing through the computer and internet. But I have some friends that play like D&D through Skype because like when and so like I have some friends that are artists and they have friends all over the nation, and so
you
they
have friends.
Yeah,
I thought you don't like people.
Yeah, I don't. This is true. I know people that like me, and
and you don't like them. Hopefully, they're not listening.
Just kidding. They don't like me.
Love you.
So,
but overall, it worked pretty well, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably not buy a tripod.
Not buy one?
Yeah, because I'm cheap. What? But I'm sure that's probably the best way to do it is get some type of tripod.
See,
get up higher.
I was thinking that we could also do this because that's one thing. Well, we see each other every week, so eventually, what our plan would be is to.
I miss you on Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, you used to play almost every Wednesday with your old tenant Nick.
Yeah.
And
Nick coming over. Yeah. That was a good time. It was like every other Wednesday, but yeah. And so but it seems like kind of a fun way to do it if you got a setup. And again, the camera's super cheap, so
I'd like to. If anybody else does,
if you have a different way, is Skype
please let us know
because
or this would be interesting to do because I would like. I don't want to play
new tier on Patreon. Donate $100 and we will play via Skype with you.
That's down the road. That'd be good. We're too cheap to fly you in like Command Zone and have you actually win a gun. So pay us $100 so that you can Skype with us. That's the CommanderSmiths way to do it.
Then we can record it and it's slotted really bad.
No, that's the thing we try to do well is we don't want it to look really shitty.
No.
We'll just do it really shitty. All right. So anything else on that? So which decks won? All right. What decks did you win with?
So I played my Aura deck, which we will spotlight next week with Kestia. So I did
Which
that.
is really tonight, but next week.
And then I played Nikia and one with Nikia, and then I played 2 more with
Dude,
Kestia.
Nikia, you're like...
Nikia's bonkers.
I think you're 1 loss with Nikia. I think that's it.
And I should have won that game.
Sure.
I should have.
But
yeah,
didn't.
no.
I don't remember. What was that game? Was that my win?
No, it was Jeremy's.
Was it Jeremy?
I lost that game. Yeah.
Way to go,
where
Jeremy.
Sudden sickening when I made all
that's
my
right.
guys 0-2, and then at Wrath. The next
Nikia
turn.
is pretty brutal. You have a pretty good winning percentage with that bad boy.
It's really powerful.
So why do you say you should have won that game?
I should have. Doesn't matter.
Nice.
So yeah, and then Kestia seems really powerful too. Like I've really liked it. That's the bestow commander, and so that I was just kind of working on it, and I like it. I
Sweet.
like all my decks, all my babes.
So you're not destroying decks as often? Have you destroyed any of our commander? Well, you destroyed.
Yeah, I got rid of Estrid, and that's why I'm making. Kestia
you also
the
got
bestow.
rid of Niv.
No, I still have Niv. I just.
Oh, you do? You just changed it?
I just don't play it.
Okay.
I changed it, and then I don't play it because you have it, and that'd be lame.
Gotcha. All right, let's move into our last segment.
Just the tips.
Not in that last segment. We're going to be doing...
Smith specs don't even count. That's just
a
everybody
bonus.
skips it anyway.
Yeah. We just want you guys to make some money. Actually, we've had some... There's some crazy shit going on with that. Anyways, let's do just the tips.
Just the tips. Gameplay.
So that's the main point of this. There's a couple aspects to it. Part of it is speed of play that we're going to talk about, but then also tips.
Just make things more efficient.
Yeah.
What?
Go ahead.
Go. No, you go. Yeah.
Do the... Have you seen the SNL skit where it's Kristen Wiig and Fred Armisen where they
Absolutely not.
where they're trying to... One of them is trying to repeat the other one, and so this is like...
Oh, actually, no, I haven't seen this one. That's
so
pretty
they
funny.
like sing songs and like it's really bad.
They do that on
it's awesome.
That's real life. Like they're not.
No, it's not practice.
One person singing, the other person's trying to cheat. Yeah. No, that shit's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I would say right away, like the best way that you can control how gameplay goes is know your deck.
Yeah.
If you know your deck, you know the game plan, and you know like decision trees on what you need to be doing and stuff like that.
Like
you
if
know
you
what
have
to
a
expect.
tutor or something like that, you need to go search for something.
You need to know what you
need to go for.
Yeah. Like, because they're, think about the instances where somebody's borrowing a deck. And they're like, hey, I'm playing Goblin Recruiter. That happened on the gameplay that I was playing with.
Oh, okay.
Matt. And his wife was just like, what do I go get? And I was like, I don't know your deck. And Matt's like, I don't know. Let's just thumb through it. And so, like, it took a while.
Took a little bit, yeah.
And that's a bigger card to worry about. But I was like, remember, we've already killed Krenko 8 times. It's going to cost 12 to come out.
Yeah.
Like, don't pile all these cards in. So you got to like a bunch of decisions. So if you don't know your deck, it's hard to know what to go and get. So
yeah, and that tutor part could take 5-10 minutes for somebody to figure it out. And that's the thing. It also is, if you're borrowing a deck, it's a little tough. Thumb through it really quick to kind of figure it out, and also ask the owner kind of maybe
what's my game plan? What should I be doing? What do I need to worry about?
What's the game winners? What does this deck do? So kind of get the idea. So that's tip number 1.
Yeah, just know your deck.
Yeah. Some tips for a lot of times this happens, but like if Howling Mind's out or Necrosar is out where you're drawing 2 cards, people will forget to draw that second card. And
if it's not yours, that's even harder because it's not in your deck, so it's not something that you're thinking about. Like with a Howling Mind.
So one thing that we do is turn your card sideways.
We turn the top 2 cards sideways so that we know we're drawing those 2 cards.
Yeah. So that just helps you like, oh, fuck, it's not normal. Oh, yeah, I'm drawing these 2 cards.
Drawing those 2 cards.
Now, most of the time, if it's a Nekasar deck that you're playing against, they're going to tell you, did you draw your 2 cards because you need to take fucking damage?
Yeah. Did you take your damage?
A Howling Mind, everybody's drawing an extra card. There's multiple,
and you might not be thinking about it.
Yeah.
But that also works for like cards that you have, and you just don't want to forget your triggers either, like Phyrexian Arena or Bloodgift Demon, stuff like that. You want to be able to draw your cards on time so that people aren't like, motherfucker, don't miss your own triggers.
Well, and that it's not bad because we don't really like make a big fuss about it, but it kind of sucks sometimes when somebody's like, "Oh shit, my turn! It's already
I forgot to draw a card. Is
forgot
it okay
to draw
if
a card.
I
It's
just draw a
2
card?
turns
It's like,
later.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
like,
do anything about it, but just
go ahead
take
and draw
your
your card. Yeah.
But yeah,
the only when we do that, it's always we look at it and go, "Is it a you may or a you must?"
Yeah.
If it's a you may, then they just skip on drawing that card.
You missed
completely.
it.
So another thing along the same lines, but there's a little more discussion with this one, is your graveyard. If you have things that can flash back, or there's a way to get them back from your graveyard, flashback is a good
Aftermath,
example. Yeah,
from Amonkhet, like
now those cards, if you look at how they were made, they're made to be like almost sideways so you can see them on the side, like in your graveyard.
Aftermath.
So that's the same trick, is turn it sideways. But the downfall of that is now if you have something that has flashback, you're kind of announcing to everybody on the table, hey, I can flash this back. That's sometimes a trick move that you can do with flashback, is when people don't realize what's in your graveyard.
At the same time, though, I would say that you should probably kind of announce it, because I would rather have somebody know that I have like Moment's Peace in my graveyard and be like, I can fog if you attack me.
Yeah.
Rather, like, and that can be a play too. Like, if you attack me, I'm going to fog.
Yeah.
But like, I'd rather not have them going through graveyards and going, "Can you do anything?"
Yeah,
like
that takes more time.
longer. So it depends.
Be honest with it and let people know what's in there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reason why we say turn it sideways, because then everybody knows, hey,
oh, what do you got there?
Okay, he can play that card or whatever. But I've done that so many times where, I don't do it much anymore because we turn it sideways, but
you just forget it's there.
And I'm like, fuck, I had an answer. I had flashback or whatever in the graveyard, and I could have done something and just completely forgot about it.
And that's something that I like recursion, so generally I am.
What?
Yeah. But being able to remember that you have that there is super helpful. I think it's more beneficial to turn it sideways than worry about your opponents knowing that you have something. Because it's known information anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want them digging through my graveyard. Like, I know you have something, but I don't remember what it is. Like, just let them know, like, I can do this shit.
And it's Commander. You're with your buddies, unless you're playing with douches and you really don't like playing with them and you just want to win and you're trying to hide it.
Sure.
You want the games to be fun, so you don't want to try to dupe. I mean, you want to dupe them by killing them, but not like, just... It makes the game go faster. Like you're saying, digging through the graveyard is going to take a lot longer for each turn if they have to go through everybody's graveyard. Oh, do you have an answer? Okay, let me make sure. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Just let them know.
It's just
communication is key.
Do you have another?
Yeah, right off of that, going with kind of like the Howling Mind is make sure if it's your trigger and it's affecting the board, remind people. It's kind of your job. They don't know your deck. They're not used to your cards because that's not really on their game plan.
Do you want to pay one?
Yeah, do you want Ristic Study?
Do you want to pay one?
Yeah, remind them. Or, the new one, Smothering Tide.
Do you want to pay two?
Or Grand Arbiter. Or,
do you want to pay?
Like, again,
you have to pay.
Yeah, you got to pay. You can't decide.
It's not a you, do you?
So just remind people of triggers definitely that you have going on.
Especially when it's Grand Arbiter type things where it's going to affect. It's not a do you want to. It affects how much you can actually cast. We've had that happen too, where the person completely forgot and cast like 4 spells.
Did you pay one?
You can only do 2 of those spells because
it's like, oh my fucking god, I don't have Vorinclex.
I just wanted to show that. Didn't you do that?
Yeah, that's absolutely what I did.
It was the exact.
And Trombley was being really good about reminding me. He's like, "You could do that," and then he's like, "Did you pay for one for that?" I'm like, "Shit, no." I was like, and I was just like, I don't have Vorinclex coming next turn.
What sucked about that is you still got him out the next turn,
and then
we didn't get to kill it, and
it was a good
nobody
game.
killed. Yeah,
it was a good game.
Fucking shitty.
So just reminding people, or even like if somebody's doing math on the board and you have like a propaganda or a ghostly prison, just be like, I have this. You got to pay 2 to attack me for each creature. Like, remind them, because they might be like adding everything up, send stuff to you, and then you're like, I got ghostly prison.
So they have to redo it all and be like, okay, hang on, I'm going to do this to this person instead. So
just remind them, I got this. You got to do something about this.
Now, I would put a side note to that. Don't remind them when they're playing their main phase and playing spells and playing creatures and all that to be like, oh, remember, if you're going to attack me, you're going to have to
leave
tap
open 2-4.
No, that's the point of it.
Yeah.
You let them make that mistake because that's you don't need
But
to tell them.
once they move into combat and you can tell they're fiddling with their creatures, then you remind them and be like, hey, I'm off the board. You tapped out.
Yeah. Because that's a fun thing to do. When
Yeah.
you're sitting there with your freaking ghostly prisoner propaganda and you're like, oh shit, they only have 3 land. Oh man, they only have 1. Fuck, I am safe.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something. You don't got to be super nice about it, but just remind them politely, like, you tapped out, you can't attack me.
Nah, just point at them and go, haha, fucker, you can't get me.
That's quite rude.
All right, another thing to do, especially early game stuff, when you play your fetch lands and your anything that you're fetching stuff for, play it, and if you're going to play something like let's just make it basic. You have a fetch land turn 1 and you have a land of war elves in your hand. Go, all right, I'm going to search for this land and I'm going to play land of war elves. Go ahead. Don't wait, wait for me to search through my deck for my Savannah or something like that, or I guess what would Shockland or something, or a forest or something like that.
Stomping grounds or just a forest, or don't wait for the land. Just be like, announce, I'm going to get a green source and I'm going to play Land of War Elves.
Because, having them to wait, until you get it out, yeah, that's what you're supposed to, but it's not going to change anything. You're making the game move faster. And the thing is, I know I say I like the long games, but the tedious stuff needs to be cut out,
Yeah.
And so
if you can make the game more efficient on just going like, hey, I'm going to do this, go.
Yeah.
Let me just go and do that. That's right up the alley, I would say.
And then also searching for tutor stuff.
Yeah. Now, normally, like, correct play is you pretty much want to be doing instant speed at the end of the turn right before you.
So right when they're saying go to you, you're like, all right, blah, blah, blah. And most of the time you are going to do that. But for tutor stuff, you can...
Because you're looking through a 100-card deck, you want to make sure, like, you're being time efficient. Because that's a huge thing. Just be time efficient. And so... One thing that I do, like if I have a mystical tutor or something, I get to go search for any instant or sorcery and put it on top of my library. You got to reveal it. Now, what I do is at the end of my turn, I'm going to pay a blue, but I'm not technically doing that until the end of this guy's turn. So if you make me shuffle or anything, this just goes. And then you're not revealing it early either, and you just kind of go and be like, okay, I got this card right before, and that makes things so much quicker.
So one thing I will kind of say against that a little bit, it depends on the game state. Like if this is early in the game, yeah, do it that way. If it's late in the game and the other players know you're doing that, they know you're searching for answers for them, and so things could be a lot different. Also, things could happen by the time that turn comes around to that last person where you're like, whoa, that card I tutored for no longer applies.
Yeah.
We need to get a different one, and you can't go back.
That's
and do
a really good point.
So I would say more of the tutor stuff, if it's going on top of your library or in your hand or whatever. If you can't play it that turn, if it's later game, maybe you might want to wait
and see what the situation is doing.
The game is going to go crazy at that point. There's big swings left and right when you're late game, mid-late game. I'd say mid-late to late game is when you do it that way. But if it's turn 3 or 4, you're probably fine just tutoring it up.
Yeah, and I can totally see that. It's just slowing down the game though. No, yeah, that makes a total sense based on the game.
But
source.
Along the same lines, that's one of the big mistakes, not big mistakes, but mistakes that newer players do, and like we play with our play group,
or just do it on your turn.
Yeah. Well, no. One thing I was going to say is do right before your turn. A lot of players that where we teach, not teach, but like
we have class.
if you want to
I'm
join in our class for CommanderSmiths Academy.
Oh boy, we need a lot more patrons. Gotta build it brick by brick.
But one thing we kind of, when we're playing with people that have only, and even if you've been playing for a couple of years, there's a lot to fucking Magic. So it's not fucking Magic. That sounds really weird. There's a lot to Magic.
I'd be impressed if you can fuck Magic. It's generally pretty elusive.
Well, you just got to cut a hole. Doesn't need to be that big. Where am I now?
I don't know. You fucking Magic.
Okay. So the thing is a lot of times with the newer players is they feel like they have to do everything on their turn. So like if they have an instant or if their creature does an ability, they want to do it on their turn and then pass the turn, say go. And it's like, no, wait until it's about
Right
to be
before
your
your
turn,
turn.
then do your thing. If it especially, and now we're getting back to the going
Unless you got to
efficient.
slaughter something.
Yeah.
Like that, but that's the key thing. If you do it on your turn, you're going to miss slaughtering something.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that if you want or have to use this, like let's say you have a Path to Exile and then the next turn you're going to tap out.
Mm-hmm.
Just use it if you so choose. Like you can hold on to it too, but like if you're going to tap out and play an Iona, like that's something that you probably want to do and not wait for another like mana to show up.
Yeah. But pathing on their turn only on your turn only helps them.
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yep.
Waiting.
Yeah. So it's just doing the, being efficient. Like the thing is, people do like if it's tap creature abilities, they'll do it on their turn, and it's like, well, now you don't have a blocker. Whereas keep that guy up where it looks like it's a threat that you could block, and then use his tap ability before your turn.
Like Elvish Piper. Like, don't do it on your turn. Wait, like, you're already waiting a turn to be able to do the ability. Wait until it's just about your turn again, because you can avoid a Wrath. That would get rid of that big creature, so you got it for later anyway. Or if somebody attacks you, you can basically flash
surprise
that
attack
huge
and kill
thing
it.
in
It's
and
like
block
a kill
it.
spell in a way.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of tricks that you can do with something like just Elvish Piper.
And if players are smart, they're looking at your Elvish Piper and knowing he could do
That's
something
scary.
fucking tricky.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to attack that guy.
Yeah. So that's something. But if you tap it and put something out big, or maybe not even big, like it's unimpressive, they can just be like, okay, the mystery's gone.
Yeah.
I can get through that.
Or even you put out something big, then it's like kill him before
also
your
true.
turn even comes around, and it's just you're screwing yourself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Another little trick with that is if you don't have a hand or you just have one card in your hand, it's only a land, keep that fucker in your hand. You can't. If you draw another land next turn, then play a land and just keep that one land in your hand. It makes it at least players think that you might have something. That's one.
And I think that's a good tip. But then I would also say, like, that can really drag out, like, somebody's decision tree on what they're going to do. Like, definitely, because there's end game, you kind of want to sit down and win anyway. But, like, generally, for me personally, like, I just get rid of the land. And so people just don't have to make the decisions, like, oh, what's Lowery going to do? Like, he has 10 mana open, one card in his hand. Does he have Cyclonic? No, I got a fucking land. I'm not worried about it.
That's true. I could see that too, because there is a lot of times where if I see somebody has a card and land open, I'm like, all right, what do I do? Do I kill this person? What do I? You sit there for
like
5-10 minutes trying to figure out.
So that could actually open it up for you. So,
but if you're wanting to win, if you feel like there's a win on potentially you could get it, I'd keep a land in your hand. I do it on Arena.
Yeah, you do it a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Calling me a douche?
No. Calling you a winner. Same thing. Sorry. One quick thing. I would say have tokens out and ready.
Yes.
Don't go digging for them if you're creating tokens. I put mine in just penny sleeves and I have them with the deck.
That's what
all
I
the
do
time.
too. So I go through my entire deck to see any possible token that my deck can make. Even if it's one card, it's not like I need 4 cards that make treasure. Okay, now I'm going to get treasure tokens. No, it's if I have one card that makes treasure tokens, I at least have 1 or 2 of those in there.
Yeah.
And kind of a nice little tip that I was doing was if I have ones that make multiple, like let's say spirits, I'll do only 2 spirit tokens because I can make one that's haste and one that's not haste, so and I can use a dice for on top of which ones have haste and tapped and untapped.
What ones can attack
and
which
sorry,
ones
that's what I mean,
yeah.
not haste.
Yep.
Tapped and untapped ones.
And for me, generally, I go with 3.
Yeah, I typically go more because I like to have options.
Well,
with
for
it,
my reasons is it represents like what you can't attack with, and then generally if you want to be able to attack 2 players, then you have representation there. So generally what I do, but then like at the end of the turn, like it allows you to have a couple untapped, tapped, and all that stuff, and then you can combine later for whatever is efficient and show as well.
If you need tokens, talk to me because I have so many tokens.
Everybody has so many fucking. It's almost like basic.
Well, a lot of people probably throw them away, but I like every token. I'm like, oh, I gotta keep it. I have like 3 of those rows of a 5-box thing full of fucking tokens.
That's a lot of tokens.
Let's see.
Don't get distracted.
Oh yeah.
Don't be on your phone.
Yeah.
Don't chit chat with somebody out of the game.
Because that
chit chatting inside the game, I think,
it's
is
totally fine. But like, if you're not paying attention and then it comes to your turn, you're like, okay, what's going on here? I have to relearn what just happened. This whole
don't do that.
It gets frustrating.
Don't do that. Just pay attention, and you can still be talking and again all that stuff. But like, if you're on your phone, like obviously if your mom calls, you got to pick up.
Yeah.
But like if your dad calls, you don't have to.
Or
That's
in
a
our
big
case, over the last couple of years, when your kid's crying upstairs and you got to come up and check on that. You
There are some things, but like just don't be distracted. No, at least pay attention halfway to the game state of what's going on, so that you don't have to be like, well, Lowery played this, then Adam played that, and then they got this in their graveyard. Like, you shouldn't have to be told what's going on. Now, if you need understanding of what's going on, that's a little bit different. Like, how does this card work?
Yeah,
that's
totally
way
fine.
different.
When I'm playing, typically each person's turn, I'm looking at my hand and I'm like, okay, when it comes around my turn, if nothing dramatically changes, this is the plays I'm going to do. A lot of times, though, what happens is that person right before me does something and I'm like, fuck! And so
I had a good plan.
So then you completely change it, or somebody board wipes or whatever. It's
somebody wheels right before your turn. You're like, shit.
All right. But that's what I typically do is I'm always, everybody's turn, I'm like, okay, this is still the same. I'm still going to do this. And a lot of times your draw changes that too. But at least have an idea of like, okay, this is what I want to do on this turn if it comes around and the board state hasn't changed that much.
Yep.
It'll help speed up everything. And I mean, I don't mind the 3-hour games, but a lot of people do get kind of pissed when they're really long games.
Yeah,
and
like the concentration, there's fatigue that sets in, and like what's going on.
And
like,
if it's just slow play, that gets kind of annoying.
And I can tell my, like, for distractions, my biggest weakness is TV.
Yeah. So
Lowery, like, if the TV is going to be on, I need my back to it.
Yeah.
And otherwise, like, if it doesn't have to be on, it's just like,
Lowery
please
just stares.
don't. Yeah. Like I'll just do the vacant stare of what's going on, and then it's like, hey,
TV.
come back to us, Lowery. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I just fuck up generally. But yeah, TV's the worst for me. I can't have it on or I have my back to it. And so you just need to be able to know how to deal with those distractions if you know you have those.
Yeah. And then do you have more? I have one more on mine. My last one is just know what's on the board. Kind of, if you don't know what it does, ask. Don't hesitate to ask questions on what their cards do, but just get an idea of what's on the board. And if you ask other people if they're like, is that something that needs to die? Is this something that is threatening us? Feel free. I mean, I guess with our play group, it isn't a big deal to ask and figure out what's going on.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's also another reason why with Proxies, I used to go with
the coolest art.
Yeah, I try to find different art than what the Proxies were. Well, but then people didn't know what was on the board. And
it was like, a lot harder for me to tell what.
That's just a blah blah blah. Well, why do you have this crazy art? So now if I can, 9 times out of 10, I would try to find the actual art. Now,
art, yeah.
Lifeline was one of the new ones the new Proxies that I made. There is no good art for that, so I had to find one that I thought represented it. But
yeah.
Anyways, I'm kind of going off track there, but know what the cards are on the board.
And playing into that, I would say when you're casting or doing your thing, announce the card at the very least of what you're casting.
Yeah.
Just be like, I am casting Heroic Intervention.
Or
what does that do? Well, Hexproof, Indestructible.
Butcher the name like I would do. Because that's what I'll...
fine. Butcher of Malik here. So, like, I would just say, at the very least, do that. And then if somebody goes, what is that? Then read the card.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you can just be like, cast Soul Ring. Everybody knows what Soul Ring is. And if it's a common card that's played, you can just kind of, what's kind of going on there. So just naming the card is going to be really... Because if I'm across a table and I hear you say a card, generally I'm going to know what it is. And so I'm glad that I heard it. But if you're just kind of playing and then you're like, okay, I'm done. I was like, well, hold on. What do you got going on here?
Yeah.
That slows the game down. So announcing at the very least should speed things up.
And one thing that we've been working on a little bit more too, and this is kind of just going off the top of my head here, is like, announce when you're moving into phases. A lot of times people go way too quick into stuff, and then you have to
okay, I'm
backtrack.
casting this stuff, and then I'm going to
Yeah.
attack here. It's like people need to be able to react.
Yeah, and the other thing is don't multicast where you're like, all right, I tap 10 mana and I'm casting these 4 things. You know, go one at a time, because you got to see if somebody's going to do something or react to that. But there is a lot of times, especially newer players, that'll just go, I'm casting these 3 things. And it's like, well, hold up. Which one are you casting first? You know, because it does matter how things are coming into play. So go by the steps, and then also announce when you're going into different phases. If you
and you think that this stuff actually, like skipping all that and just casting 3 speeds up the game. And generally in such a big game, when so many people can interact, it does slow it down.
Because then you have to backtrack and then try to figure out, okay, wait,
what's going on? What are you doing? Just if you do it and just, I'm going to put this equipment, and then I'm going to equip it, and then I'm going to be able to put an aura on it. Like if you're like, I'm going to equip and put this aura on it, like that's too quick.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, no. I'm going to kill it before hexproof happens.
Yeah. I play Oracle Modiah, and then I put on Swiftfoot Boots. Oh, you can't do anything. I did it already. I said it.
Faster you talk does not mean the gameplay goes faster.
Oracle Modiah, Swiftfoot Boots, go.
I'm not going to play with you anymore.
It's like an auctioneer. What the fuck did he just do? He just won the game somehow. I don't even know.
He bought it at an auction.
I died from infect. I got milled, and yeah. All right. Do you have any others?
I have one little thing that I kind of do is I try not to go, slaughter that. Like I don't, slaughter on sight. I try and not do that, but I do try and react a little bit and go like,
holy shit.
Go to Adam. That's really scary. You should do something about that. Try and have other people use their resources rather than you.
But a lot of times when you do that, people are like, wait, what? Why?
What's going on? Why is that good? And you're like, well,
watching a show and not paying attention. Yeah, that gets their attention.
That gets people attention when you're like,
I wish there was video of that. That was pretty good.
I'm glad there isn't.
All right, so let's move on to Smith Specs of the Week.
Smith Specs of the Week, guys.
Hey, guys. All right, so my first Smith Spec of the Week is Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Do not go for the foils right now. Those have already spiked. That's kind of the part of the reason why I'm going for these.
If you don't know, Ugin's going to be in War of the Spark.
So, Haven of the Spirit Dragon, it deals with dragons and Ugin. We've only had one Ugin card up to this point. Now we're going to have at least 2. So we have this card that actually deals with that. They're sitting around $1 right now.
They have 2 printings, but it's a solid card.
Both of them are, that's actually what I was going to say, is both going for the Commander and from, is it Dragon?
Cons block.
Going for that one. There is a high inventory, so this one isn't like necessarily...
Dragons.
Yeah, it's Dragons, yeah. I had... Commander only had about 50 vendors that had it, and then Dragons had about 103, so it still had quite a few, but it's starting to rise a little bit. And for $1, that's pretty damn cheap, and once they actually start doing the spoilers, if it's a fucking good Ugin card... And I've heard rumors that there might be some other dragons that are in this as well. This could actually work well with it. Fast Finance mentioned it when he was talking. Like, I don't know. He has these connections. He gets it.
He does.
He knew Ugin was coming before, and he said that he thinks that there's other dragons. Well, you got Nicol Bolas.
Yeah.
But is it going to be a flip thing? I don't know. I don't know what the whole thing is.
We don't know.
But for $1... I picked up like 20 of them, I think, for $1 a piece. So it's not a bad pickup, but there is a higher inventory. So you actually have time to get this one. But like I said, it's already been kind of wiggling. When that line starts to go up and down, it means that people are buying it, inventory, and then people are putting the inventory back on, and it keeps going up and down. At some point, people putting those more on is gone.
Send them up.
Yeah. So, easy spec to jump on.
Haven of the Spirit Dragon.
What is that supposed to be?
Ba 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 ba. Spirit. I have
We got
Spirit, so
Spirit,
do you.
yes. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
That shit? Yeah,
you
that
just
was-
go to your next one.
That was fun. Okay, so you are kind of focusing a little bit on this one of War of the Spark, which is Planeswalker heavy set. And I'm kind of thinking about Modern Horizons and kind of wondering what cards would I try and predict that I think
Thinking
would...
of modern cards in a Commander podcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. And you're
So-
going with a card that just is the epitome of
What
what,
Adam doesn't
I
like.
hate.
Literal counterspell. So it's just instant blue, counter any spell. I think I would say that this, it's not a legacy staple. It's used slightly there, but this card would be quite good, but not broken in Modern, in my opinion. So I can see them printing this. The foil copies from like Masters 25 or Eternal Masters are right around $3. I think those are really good buys. I think it'd be a very heavily used card. And then the other foil versions of them are all over 15. And so you have a pretty high ceiling for demand if it is being used in Modern, because it turns into the best counterspell there. So it makes a deck out of itself pretty much.
So the interesting thing with and we kind of talked about this before the podcast, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the stuff they bring into Modern, because it's like normally when you get a reprint, cards go way down because you got it reprinted. And Counterspell's been printed a whole bunch, but if you're getting something that's never been in that format before,
just opens up a ton of people.
So now you have a ton of people wanting it, and then you have people going for it, like the foils here. I mean, yeah, I could definitely see the foils jumping up.
Yeah, I think regulars, I wouldn't really touch that. I mean, there's so many of them. They're all sitting around about $1.
Yeah.
And I can see that doubling. So if you want to go from like $1 or $2,
and then pay for shipping and your eBay costs and all that stuff.
So you're breaking even. But I can see the newer foils going over 10.
Yeah, and if you
see that
compare it
happening.
to any of the other foils, there isn't one. Oh, I guess Eternal Masters is at 3. So
The
you
two
said
latest
that, yeah.
foils. Yeah.
But other than that, like you said, there's $70, $80, $27. Yeah, so definitely the foils are probably the ones to go for. I like it. I just don't like Counterspell. My next one is actually a card that Lowery. There's a couple of reasons why I picked this one. Lowery intrigued me on this one when we were playing with this last year. I don't remember what deck you had this in, but it's Eldrazi Displacer from Oath of the Gatewatch, and I'm focused on the foils of these guys. There's a couple reasons. I like this card a lot. I think it should be used a lot more in Commander.
Mm-hmm.
Might
Is
get
it
added to
underrated?
a list. Might get added to our future segment. But I was able to pick these up for about $5 foils.
Yeah, I think I picked up like 4 or 6 of them for right around $4 or $5.
Yeah, and they're only in 5,000 EDH decks, which is kind of crazy because I'm like, any white deck should have this in there. It's
quite good.
because there's a couple things that it does. You exile something, it's like a flicker, but then you also are tapping down if you wanted to get through. You're
Gets
tapping
rid
their
of tokens.
creatures. Yeah,
It can give you extra enter the battlefield tokens. It's very versatile.
yeah. Has a little bit higher inventory at the moment, but there's another reason why I picked this.
Saffron Olive effect.
Saffron played it in a deck, and I watched a little bit of the video of which one is it? It's the.
He just made an Eldrazi Displacer deck.
But wasn't it one of his Against the Odds? I think it was Against the Odds. Yeah. And it actually did really well. Like the deck I watched at least the first 2 matches, and he won both of them. And I was like, oh, this is a pretty sweet deck. And I was like, I've been wanting to pick this up anyways. I had regulars, but I want foils.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch out for the Saffron effect because it's can
real.
make a card
It's real.
just dwindle. And there is a little bit of movement. That's that jump thing that I was just talking about.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
The little wiggle. But I would pick this up because it's actually a really good EDH.
It's now you're Dutch. French to Dutch and a little bit of
EDH
American
deck.
in there.
It's an EDH deck, but it's a good EDH card. So I would definitely pick this up. $5 is great for these foils, and I don't see them being printed anytime soon. With Eldrazi.
Sure, no, I don't. Like Devoid makes it a harder reprint.
Yeah.
So like one thing to kind of look for is like mechanics that are pretty unique and you don't think are probably going to come back, you know.
So a lot of things that say Shroud, you probably won't see those very often unless it's a Commander set. So if you're looking at foil things that say Shroud, most likely that's the only foils that are going to be there unless they do a Modern Masters whatever set. All right, your next one, Lowery.
Going with Spellseeker. Now, this card was printed in Battle Bond. It's sitting around like $5-6 right now. But again, this is a card. It goes and searches for like an instant or sorcery of 3 or less. I can't really read the card, but 2 or less. And that's pretty much everything in Modern. And I think this card is balanced enough and powerful enough to make an effect in Modern if it gets printed in Modern Horizons.
And even if it doesn't get printed in Modern Horizons,
it's a solid card. This goes and gets Cyclonic Rift, Swords of Plowshare,
and that's one thing we talked about when Battle Bond came out. We're like, this is a Cyclonic Rift grabber.
Yeah, this card is really quite good, and it is kind of on the rise. It's getting that little wiggle up, but I think that's kind of
it's more of a curve up.
It's curve up, whatever.
Doesn't yours curve up?
I just want it. I wish. More like a weird angle.
You need to switch hands, buddy.
I'm not that talented.
No.
So this card I can totally see being good enough to be in Modern. And I can see it.
If it gets in there, this thing will go crazy.
Yeah. One thing that I'm looking for when it comes to Modern Horizons, just so that you guys, if you're looking around, is like, is it like a legacy card? Is it good, but not necessarily played in Legacy? Like if it's a Legacy staple, I just don't see it being printed because one thing that they've stated over and over is they want a distinct difference between Legacy and Modern. And so,
or
if you have a card that's
they're trying to kill Legacy,
they can't. It's like Vintage. Vintage is still, the cards are still going to go up. You want that distinct feel, but you also want a little bit more power in Modern as well, like more answers. So that's kind of what I was going for in the thought process.
I like it either way, even if it isn't.
The foils are like $40 right now.
Oh yeah, don't go for foil.
Regular.
Yep. All right, my last one is
Chain Veil.
The card that I said would replace Chain Veil, and Chain Veil sucks and all that. I'm glad I didn't sell. No, I didn't say it sucked, but I said that this one should replace it because I thought it was better. Oath of Teferi. I know we talked about the foils a few weeks ago because Fast Finance talked about the foils then. Those have already kind of gone up. Those are around $12-14. Actually, I think they got up to like 18 at some point.
Well, this is still a standard card, so this will help standard card like decks.
Yeah. So with this, I'm talking about the non-foils. I was actually seeing them on TCG. You could pick them up for sub $1. You got to do the TCG cart filler like we talked about last week's episode. But you can find these on TCG for under $1. It's showing a spike right now for over $1, but I was still seeing them at 50 cents.
Right before the show.
Yeah. And the inventory is still really low on those. So it's not much longer, and this card is going to be $2, $3, $4, $5 card, especially when the Planeswalkers start to actually come out and get revealed.
We start seeing them be like, ooh, this goes very well with Oath of Teferi. So, yeah, it seems it's the only oath that's in standard that will be affected. This, I don't know, this is good enough to it'll take a dip after it rotates from standard. Yeah. But it's good enough, and I think it's, this fits in just about any Super Friends deck in EDH. Well, yeah,
I'll get I have all my copies and then sell them all but my foil one. And then, it'll take a dip, but I want to have that because it is going to go in every freaking Super Friends deck that I have. Anytime that I'm playing blue-white, Atraxa. I don't even think I have it in Atraxa yet. I haven't
probably should.
Yeah. Well, I only play with our Commander, CommanderSmith decks, so I don't tweak the other ones at all. So, but yeah, go find those. They're still under 50 cents, which is where the bottom was on these. And right now, Goldfish is showing a spike over $1. Like I said, I think these are going to go a couple dollars higher once they actually start revealing the set here. And what, a couple weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I wouldn't expect anything until April.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Lowery, your last one.
my last one's going to be Goblin Ringleader. Again, this is so. Thought process here is Goblins is a fairly legitimate legacy deck, but I also see them. They kind of like try and push Goblins in Modern or like standard decks. So like there's a lot of Goblins that came out in Dominaria that was supposed to help it. Some reprints. And that didn't really help the deck, and I can totally see them putting this card in there for the card advantage that red Goblins so needs. And so there are some other ones that could potentially see it, but I think they're almost too staple. So like Goblin Lackey, that is legacy Goblins right there. So it's an uncommon, so they could print it, but I just don't see them because that's too iconic to legacy. Whereas this, I can easily, because they have cards like it in Modern, like Collected Company, or they have the Sylvan Ranger, which is for elves, which is the same thing here. So I can easily see them printing this one, and it's necessary. It would be very necessary, in my opinion, for a Goblin deck to happen competitively in Modern.
And then it actually gets Goblin decks
in Commander
relevant
as well.
Relevant in Modern. Like they really, I mean, they're there, but they're what, tier 2 maybe?
Yeah, they're tier 2 or 3. Like they're kind of all over the place.
Which I don't even know because I don't follow Modern. So, but yeah, no, I have actually heard from other casts too that they were talking about Goblins as a target, not necessarily this card, but Goblins being a target for.
They have always they keep on trying to push it. Like they brought in,
Well, it's kind of an original tribe, you know. It's
it's one of, Merfolk is pretty decent. Elves are pretty decent. Goblins is not.
Zombies. What do we got for
zombies? Has always been more like casual though, to whereas like Merfolk, elves, and goblins have always been kind of competitive.
Well, no, I'm just thinking back to the original back in the day.
Would be humans or knights.
Goblin King. You have Zombie Lord, Lord of Atlantis. Let's see, what do we got left? We got white and green. What are our lords? Didn't we have some lords in there?
Couldn't even tell you what the white one is. It's got to be good.
Soldiers? Somehow with soldiers?
I don't know.
Well, you know, elves. Elvish Archdruid. But that wasn't
That's not
old
the
school,
original.
I know.
No. Gave you the weird face.
No. Well, that's the only one I could think of that gave like 1+1 and did something, but that was more recent. That wasn't even that recent. That was
sure, it's probably the one that gives +1/+1 and Forest Walk to all elves.
What is that one, though?
I don't remember.
But that's what I was thinking, is each one had their own little...
Yeah.
So
good story, Hansi.
Yeah. Back in the day, that's what used to be really good. I still have my original, I think they're revised, though.
Original revised, which is the 4th edition.
Yeah.
Totally
revised
original.
Lord of Atlantis.
Jesus. Don't buy anything authentic from this guy.
They are original.
This is an authentic reprint.
It's not a proxy.
No, authentic. This is real.
All right, I think, is that it? We all done?
Are we done with this episode, please?
Because we got another episode to go.
We're good. We're golden.
All right, so you guys can follow us on Twitter.
At CommanderSmiths.
You can check out our YouTube page. Subscribe. Remember, that's the best way to follow us for free.
Wink, wink again. 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. At CommanderSmiths.
And then shoot us some song suggestions. I love it that I don't have to write any songs anymore.
Love letters.
Love letters.
Whatever you want.
I have a love letter that I'm supposed to do.
You do.
Yeah.
You kind of fucked that up because that's going to be the next
Yeah, because we didn't do a love letter. It was just me bitching.
Yeah.
Shit. All right.
It's better. Those are the best kind of love letters.
And then... Go on Patreon, like I said, right now for at least March, you're gonna get a proxy if you donate. If you give $5 or more, we do international shipping, but it has to get over a certain amount because it has to make sense for us to be able to send it. So after I think $10 is when we start doing that.
You changed all that stuff out.
I don't remember.
I haven't donated.
It's all listed on there, but then for each level, you get that many more proxies from the proxy of the week stuff. So that's temporary. That will change. I think proxies will always be involved. It's just we are going to start. Yeah.
Tiers. We'll try and get other stuff in there.
But yeah, we just wanted to get things rolling.
If you want us to sign it, we will.
We can.
Probably not. I don't know.
We can definitely
ruin cards.
But ruin a proxy that we're just.
Maybe like fucking A. How much I've got to pay to not have you sign it?
Another $5, please.
You fucking scam artist.
All right, that'll do it for this week. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.